If you want to make more money with your clothing brand and scale your business, then this is a great video for you to watch. Now, today I'm going to go over exactly how to set up a Facebook and Instagram ad campaign. Now, what this does is it actually gets more attention to your clothing brand, and you can actually put a button at the bottom where they can buy your clothing item right then and there through Facebook and Instagram. So this is actually my favorite way to get more sales with clothing brands, and it's actually very effective as well. So today I'm going to go over exactly how to set up a campaign to get the best results for your clothing brand and get more sales, which of course brings in more revenue for your whole business. My name is Luca. I am the owner of Ocean Break Media, and we own a digital marketing agency where we actually run paid ads for clients. And by doing this, we actually scale businesses from 10K to 20K, even 100K a month, depending at where you're at right now, by getting you more sales and of course increasing your profits. So what we're going to do is we're going to head over to Facebook Business Manager. Now this is my account here. I just click create, so this created a new campaign, and I'm going to go through exactly how to set everything up. So the campaign that we're going to create is actually a leads campaign. Now this is actually my favorite campaign to run in general, but for clothing brands this will actually work really good if we do a conversions lead campaign. As you can see at the bottom here, it says conversions. That's what we're going to be running today, and this is to get more sales to your clothing brand. So we click on that, then we hit continue. And then I'm going to go forward with a manual setup so that I actually get to set it up specifically to target clothing brands. So we're going to click continue. And then I'm going to title it Clothing Brand Campaign. Just for an example, I'm not actually running this ad. This is again just an example to show you guys. And also, if you do own a clothing brand and you're looking to get more sales and increase your revenue, there's actually a link in the comments and in the description where you can book a call with me. And like I said, I run paid ads for e-commerce businesses. So if you just schedule a call down below, I can explain exactly what I can do for you. So let's get back into the video. We go into the ad set here. So here's the campaign. Then under the campaign, there's ad sets and ads. Ad sets are where you set the targeting and the location targeting as well. Now the ad is more so the creative. So you can actually have multiple ad sets, so multiple targeting options, and then you can test multiple ads in each ad set. So we're going to go into the first ad set here, and I want you to name your ad set exactly what it is. Since this is a test example, it's nothing specific, so I'm just going to say clothing brand ad set. But for you, this ad set could be a certain type of targeting, like broad, and then you can do another ad set that's specific, and then one that's like in between. So that's what we're going to do for this one. But for this example, I'm just going to call it clothing brand ad set. So here are the conversions that we can choose from. Now, these are all really good, and I'll go over exactly what each of them mean. So for website, that means there'll be a button below the Instagram or Facebook post. And again, this doesn't have to be a picture ad creative. I'll actually go into the best ad creative that you should do for your clothing brand. So there's going to be a link below the actual ad, and once they click on it, it would go to your website. So if you do have a Shopify store or a website for your clothing brand, this would work really good. Then instant forms, it's not too useful for clothing brands. This is where people can fill out a form where you ask them questions, but this isn't too useful for clothing brands, so we'll just leave this one out. Messenger ad campaign, what this is actually on Facebook Messenger, and once they click the button, it'll actually send you a message that they're interested in one of your pieces of clothing. This could be useful, but once you start getting a lot of leads, this actually becomes like a really big pain, and it actually takes a lot of work to answer all the messages. So it could work in some situations, but for the most part, I would avoid it. Now, another thing we can test, again, here we have instant forms and messenger. So this is basically both instant forms and messenger, of course. And again, I would avoid both of those for most clothing brands. Then here we have Instagram. So what this is, it's the same thing as Messenger, but it's just for Instagram, which again, wouldn't be the best for clothing brands. Then we have calls. So this would just be, it would have your phone number at the bottom, and once they click it, they could call you. For clothing brands, again, it's not too important because you don't want thousands of people calling you. And then there's app here. I'm sure most of you wouldn't have an app, but if you do, then this would also be very useful. So my favorite one to go with for clothing brands is website. So if you have a Shopify store, this works really well. So then we scroll down here. You have to select something called a pixel. If you don't know what that is, it's very important, and this is actually how you can track the conversions on your website. So if you want to track how many sales you got on a certain clothing item, this is exactly how you do it. But not just sales, it would also be clicks as well. So if you want to know exactly how many people added it to their cart and what item it was, or how many people clicked on a certain section on your website, this is how you do it. So I'm going to select my pixel here. This actually goes to my website. And then what you have to do is select a conversion event. So what events you want to track with your pixel. And then we scroll down here. This is where you can set the budget. Now, I would recommend spending at least $5 a day per ad set. And I would definitely recommend at least testing 3 different ad sets. So as you can see on the left here, this is one ad set. And then right now there's one ad under it. And then I would recommend testing at least 3 different ad sets with the budget of each one being at least $5 a day. But for this example, I'm just going to leave it at 20. And then you can actually schedule a time for your ads to start. Or you could just save and close and turn the ads off so they don't start anyway, whatever you prefer. Then we scroll down here. This is where we can choose the location. So where is your target audience? Where do they live? And this is where we can do that. So as you can see, you can search locations. So if I want to choose the United States, again, it's already here, but I can also say Canada. I can choose that, and then it selects all of Canada. But there's some really unique things that you can actually do with this. So for example here, let's just say we want to target the state of California. So I'm going to X out of the United States and X out of Canada, and then I'm going to choose California. Because say your clothing brand has a logo that has California on it, or that's just where you want to target. So we'll choose that here. So we have all of California here, but say you want to exclude a location, you can actually exclude a certain location if you don't think that they'll buy your clothing item for some reason or another, but we can search it here. But before we do that, we have to select exclude. So on the left here, click the drop down menu, click add exclusions. So then once we search, let's say Laguna, this will exclude all of Laguna, California. So that excludes it here. As you can see, it has the X, and then the check mark is what is included. And then another thing you can do, if you don't want to untarget a specific town, you can actually, let me just see, if I zoom in here, and then on the right you can actually drop a pin. So if you click drop pin, you can drop a pin in the area that you want to exclude, and then you can increase the radius here. So see where it says 10 miles, you can actually increase this up to 50 miles or decrease it up to 1 mile. So you can exclude a location in that range, in that radius. So that's another option there. So now if we scroll down a little bit more, this is actually where we can choose the audience that we want to target to. So if we hit audience suggestion, then we're not going to search for existing audiences because you most likely don't have a custom audience right now. That's something that you do a few months down the line once you have your ad running for a little bit. But for this example, we don't have a custom audience, but that is something that we definitely do here at Ocean Break Media. Again, if you want to schedule a call below so that we can run the ads for your clothing brands to maximize your results, then again, book a call below. But as you can see in the targeting here, you can select an age range. Now, most of the time, I actually like to leave this pretty broad because Facebook's really good at targeting the age range. It's really good at knowing what age range is interested in your product. But for clothing brand, if you do have a specific age audience, like say it's gym clothing and you want to target people between 18 and 30, you can actually do that here. And if you just scroll down, we'll go to 18 to 30. And then you can choose the gender, and here's actually where we can target the keywords. So for clothing brand, let's say you're doing gym clothing, for example. You can type in gym clothing, go gym clothes. Let's say you want to target people that also like Nike. We can actually do that here if you just search Nike. And then make sure you look on the right here because there's actually different options here. Of course, on the left they all say Nike, but on the right, here you're targeting Nike employees, and here you're targeting people that are interested in Nike. And for this example, it's actually footwear. So if you do want to target sports brands, then I would definitely put Nike in there. But for this example, I'm just going to say that we own a gym clothing brand. So gym clothes, then you could do gym. This goes under interest. You can actually see the amount of people that are interested in it to the right here. And it also shows a description of exactly what this interest is. But we'll click on this, and then we'll also include people that are interested in fitness. That would be a good option for gym clothing. Physical fitness is really good. And if you actually have a specific gym that you want to target, so let's say we want to target LA Fitness. Now, again, this is under interest, but for some reason, if you do want to target LA Fitness employees, you can actually do that here too, which is really cool. And it gets really specific with Facebook and Instagram ads. So this is actually a really good feature. All right, so that's good for the keywords. Now, if we scroll down here, this stuff down here for the placements, you can usually just leave how it is because Facebook generally knows where to place your ad. So you don't have to worry too much about this if you're just a beginner. But of course, if you're more advanced, I'd look into doing your own Facebook and Instagram ad placements. But for this example, since most of you out there are probably beginners, we'll just leave it how it is because Facebook on its own is pretty good at doing that as well. So now if we go over to the actual ad itself, again, name it what the ad is. So if you want this ad to be a picture ad, if you want to test a picture, video ad, carousel ad, here's where you can name the actual ad. And for this example, I'm going to call it clothing brand video ad. And the reason I'm calling it clothing brand video ad is because my favorite ad creative for clothing brands is definitely a video ad creative. Of course, only if it's a good video ad creative, it'll work very well. But at the same time, a good picture ad creative also works very well for clothing brands. Now this could be a picture of someone wearing your clothing or just your clothing in front of a white background. Those two options work very well. And then another good thing to do is actually a carousel ad. So a carousel ad is when there's not only one picture, but you can actually scroll through, 2 or more pictures. And this is also a very good option if you have different angles of your clothing, or if you just want to show off multiple different clothing options. Carousel ads work really well. Now, of course, like I said earlier, you should test at least 3 ad sets. So for the ad sets, what I would do differently in each ad set is just different targeting. Okay, because you got to test the targeting. It won't work every time, and sometimes you might think that the targeting means something, but it actually might mean something else. So it's just really good to test the targeting. So right here with the 4 squares, those are the ad sets. I would recommend testing 3 different ad sets with just different targeting, maybe a little bit different location targeting. That's completely up to you if you want to change the location or not, but definitely change some of the keywords in the 3 different ad sets. Now with the ads, you can actually run the same ads under each ad set. So it's going to be the same ads, but it's going to target a little bit differently to different people. And for the ads, I'd recommend, again, doing an image, video, and carousel ad, and then test those out. And then what you do with your testing is you test all these different options, different ad sets, different ads, and then once you see one's doing a little bit better, you actually raise the budget for that ad and ad set, and you lower the budget for the ones that aren't performing as well. And then you keep doing this throughout the whole time that you're running your ad campaign. And what this does is it actually optimizes your budget so much better because you'll see better results for such a lower cost once you start targeting. Of course, the first week, Facebook is just running the campaign, so it's getting used to it. But after a few weeks, once you get your targeting right, of course, you'll still have to adjust it over time. But once you start putting more money into the correctly targeted ad campaigns and ads, then you will see really good results. Back into the ad creative here, we can see that we have to add a Facebook page. Now you have to add a Facebook page, as you can see with the star here, but an Instagram page, it's not mandatory, but I'd highly recommend it for clothing brands because especially if you're targeting younger people, you need Instagram even more because, of course, younger people are on Instagram, and if you don't select Instagram as well, then you're not running your campaign to its full capacity. So definitely use an Instagram account because you need to know what one works best, Facebook or Instagram. So for this example, I'm going to do a single image or video. And like I said, you should definitely test all of them. What I found is a good video will definitely outperform all the other options, but it's really good to test because a bad video won't perform as good as a good image ad. So to create a new ad set and ad, you actually go to the 3 dots here and then click duplicate. And then you can also do that for ads as well. So this is where you actually add the picture or video. So what you do is you click add image or add video. And for this example, I don't actually have a picture or video to show you guys. But in my previous videos, I showed you examples of video ad creatives to run for your business because they work really well. But for this example, I don't actually have a creative. So I'm actually just going to use this picture of the ocean here. This is actually a photo I took last year. Now this has nothing to do with a clothing brand, but this is just for the example to show you guys how it looks on the side here. So here's the primary text. This is what shows up on the top of an ad on Facebook. So the most important thing to do is in the first 3 lines, capture their attention, okay? What you want to do is capture their attention so that they click read more. For some people, I'd recommend writing like a whole paragraph and then like split it up into different sections. It's not too important to have too many lines because having the right text, of course it's going to get them a little bit more interested, but it's not going to sell it to your audience. What's going to sell it to your audience is, of course, your actual clothing brand. Now, if you have a good clothing brand, then you will get a lot of sales. And if a lot of people don't like your clothing brand, then Facebook and Instagram ads will not save you. I'm sorry to say. But your clothing brand actually has to be good if you want to start seeing really good sales. That's why you don't have to have so much text, because if you have so much text, that's basically trying to sell it to them. And really what's going to sell it to them is just the clothing itself. So I would recommend at least 3 lines though. And these 3 lines should just captivate your audience, tell them who it's for. Targeting is super important. So explain who it's for and why it's high quality, what it's made of, all the good statistics about your clothing items. And what I recommend doing is not just 1 primary text, but at least 2 or 3. Because what Facebook does is they'll test these 3 options, and then they'll figure out what one works best, and they'll automatically stick to it. So then the headline here, for this example, I'll just put clothing brand. And as you can see on the side here, once it loads, it's going to pop up right here, and it says clothing brand. So that's the primary text, and you need to capture their attention with it. Now, as you can see here, where it says Ocean Break Media, that's actually the headline. Now, I didn't put one in yet, so that's why it's just auto-filling with Ocean Break Media. But let's just say you're running a clothing brand and you're selling t-shirts for this ad. I'm just going to put high-quality tees. Now, this is just an example, and it's not really a good example because I'm not actually running this for a clothing brand right now. So if we go into the preview, this is how it would show up. So let's just focus on this one all the way to the left. So this is the primary text. Again, I said it should be at least 3 lines. And then here's what we just did. So now if we X out of this, and what you should do is you should add a description. Now this describes your clothing brand and exactly who you are and what you have to offer. So at this point in the video, the SD card actually got full on my camera, so the video got cut short. So now I'm just going to do a voiceover since the actual screen recording stayed. So let's get on with the video. So the next thing to do is to add a description. So what a description is basically almost the same as a primary text, but you would actually describe your clothing brand a little bit more in more detail just to get some keywords in, and in case anyone wants to learn a little bit more. Now here is the call to action. So as you can see right now, we have the call to action of learn more, but for a clothing brand, you can also do shop now. That's actually a really good one. And there's a few different options there. You can definitely test a few out. I found that learn more works really well, but for a clothing brand, definitely shop more. Then we have the website URL. So this is actually the website, since it's a website conversion, this is the website that your actual ad is going to. So for this example, I just put in my website. To the right is actually the finished ad setup. Of course, this was just an example. And as you can see below, I don't think I did it in this video. You can see where it says URL parameters. And that's actually where you can track the individual ad. So that's where you can see exactly what ad the traffic is coming from. And you can actually set these up in Google Tag Manager and Google Analytics. Now, that's a little bit more complicated, but I'd highly recommend it if you want to see the best results. And after that, you're pretty much finished with your ad campaign, and you can hit publish, or you can just close it and then turn it on when you're ready. If you do own a clothing brand and you are looking to scale it, like I said earlier, there's a link in the description below where you can book a call with me. That is if you want me to run your ads for your own business. So that's going to be the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and got a lot of useful information out of it, and I'll see you in the next one.